light always returns to itself, regardless of what color that it might be, red, blue, green, yellow, orange, lavender, etc. And it always has a place where it can integrate and be with every other form of light. So that means that if there's anything outside of you, because it is also a frequency of light, you have the capacity to actually merge with it and be able to work with it in such a way to be able to get the results that you want. So when we're actually standing next to a person, across from a person, and we're having a conversation with them, whether it's spoken or whether it's actually through thought fields, etc., what we're actually doing is interacting from an energetic basis. And so when people talk about the fact that they can't communicate with this person or that they basically don't like this person, etc., what is really happening is a resistance in being able to either step up or step down your own frequency of energy to be able to merge with that individual. And see, that's very interesting. We're also finding out that because how people eat, or how people don't eat, is that many times they will actually alter their own frequency permanently in too many cases, where they're not able to actually change their own vibratory rate. And then that's when you really get into problems. Because if you get stuck vibrating at a particular frequency, then that means that everything else that ain't of that frequency, you're going to get some serious resistance, some serious conflict, etc., and you will not be able to change yourself, which is what is really being asked, to be able to make the integration. So if something seems difficult, whether it's reading a book or whether they're having conversations with people, if you can just remember that the key here is that this is an energy interaction. And what is it being asked of me? Okay. Now, one of the keys that I find that immediately changes my frequency to be able to deal with anything, because we need a key here to turn ourselves on or off to increase our vibratory rates or diminish it, is universal laws. These are the keys that allow you to turn into any frequency you want, and all you have to do is actually be able to identify what key is being asked of you at this particular moment. So it's like, you know, we all have many keys on our keychain. Well, that's actually how your, should I say, memory bank should be, and also how your armamentarium should be in being able to deal with the universe. By knowing these laws, which means knowing these keys, when you are interfacing with a different type of energy, all you have to do is actually know which key it is, okay, and you can put it in that particular lock, and boom, the door is open and you're in. So I find that many people, as I sat down and interviewed with them, have problems because they don't know how to modulate and change their own frequency because they don't know the keys. They don't know universal laws. So believe me, when you're interacting with another energy interface, another individual, and if you don't know what the key is because you really don't understand what's being asked of you, this is really the foundation as to why we have ruptured relationships, why we don't speak to each other, why we get divorces, why we're afraid to make commitments, all these different things. Because, see, the key of it is that you can commit to everybody because all you're doing is committing to yourself. You know, so we have all of these different really interesting things about why we can't do this, and, you know, we want to just put our toe in and not our whole selves. And it's because we aren't understanding how to interact with different fields of energy. So Wayne and I are going to share with you some basic universal laws around relationships so that you can begin to see how these laws, which are keys, which are frequencies of energy. And before we start, let me just say this. A universal law is a permanent frequency of energy. They never change. So it's like, for example, the color red. The true color of red is always red. And from it might come magenta, tangerine, red-orange, a lot of other hues, pink, etc. And these are actually just different frequencies and modulations of the true, as I call, mother red. But red itself will never change. It will always be everywhere in the universe. Pink might not be there because it is not actually a true vibration because it's a combination of some other things. But red will always be. So that means to say that when you know these universal laws, they never change and they're applicable everywhere in space and time. So that's why it's so important that these keys you want to know, and these you don't want to lose these. Okay? And the way that you can lose them is to forget to ask which one is appropriate based on the situation that you're facing.
Okay. You know what's interesting? We say that the universe is infinite, and it is. And I'm sitting here listening to Dr. Jewel and really, like you, benefiting from her perspective and approach to energy and universal law. And when she approached me about doing this, you know, I mean, I'm dealing with a scientist. You know, I mean, you're looking at your brother here. I mean, I went to the University of Life, you know, experience as my professor. Okay, and at this point in my life, it took a lot of very special people to encourage this brother that you're looking at to know that there was some work I had to do. I felt so. But in a world where letters after your name are kind of required before you get up before people, you know, I started doing it on the radio. And I was doing it on the radio basically because we teach what we most need to learn. As Sister Dr. Jewel was talking about how she gave herself cancer, which was the beginning of her whole journey into the knowledge that she's now standing before you and sharing. Well, in the same way, these universal laws, and I'm sensing as Sister Dr. Jewel is talking, and I want you to, if you're not with where she is, we're going to give you a chance and an opportunity. We were talking about giving out 3x5s, cards so that you can write answers. But please, we're here so that you understand this. This is very serious. If you're not with it, let us know. If we have to, as she said, modulate the energy and break it down, we're here to do that. Okay? You know how we do sometimes in class, you know, ain't nobody asking questions. I'm not going to be the fool to ask the first one. That's not this. No, we're about, yes, ma'am. Your code. Okay. All right. You know, it's usually the other way around, because you know, melanin dominant people tend to generate so much heat and energy. No. Listen, I'm not fighting or resisting what you're saying. The order has been heard, and someone is on the way now. Okay, then we're doing well. If that's the biggest thing that's happening. Anyone else? Okay. Yes. Can we bring the mic in the center so it'd be equidistant? So everybody can hear what you're asking.
When you talk about the keys to the universal law, are you going to discuss how we should use them and when we should use them, or is this a way of which we should start to conduct ourselves, like our lives, as far as learning a new way of living with them? Is this? I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Yes, sure you are. Okay, let me get this clear. The universal law are the keys. Okay, so the keys that we're going to give you are universal laws. These are energies. Okay, so they're acting upon you all the time, regardless of whether you know them or not. So it's not anything you don't have. All we're going to do is actually say them to you. Okay, we're going to give examples about how they do and don't apply in this particular circumstance, because today we're talking about relationships before sexship. So we're going to talk about laws that govern relationships. See, there's a law for everything. There's a law of finance. There's a law for everything. Okay, so but that's what I'm saying. So today is only for relationships. So this is, you know, the keys to relationships 101. Okay, and we're going to give you those. And you will see just by how they read, that you'll understand how to be able to apply them, because you'll be able to identify